the inside out? Join Tasha Young on Elevation Nation, your guide to total wellness and personal evolution. You are about to discover powerful strategies for healing across 7 essential dimensions: physical vitality, emotional balance, mental clarity, financial freedom, social connection, sexual wellness, and intellectual growth. This is more than self-help. It's self-elevation. Watch Elevation Nation with Tasha Young, exclusively on Black Westchester Magazine, the news from the Black point of view. Your journey to wholeness starts now.
Welcome. I am AJ Woodson with my partner Damon K. Jones, and we are here to welcome our sister Tasha Young for her inaugural show, the inaugural episode of her show, Elevation Nation. Now, this ain't gonna be like people in before politics. This ain't even gonna be like the Black Westchester Power Hour. We bringing you a whole nother element in our journey to bringing you more content. This is the first edition Elevation Nation with my sister Tasha Young.
Welcome, Tasha. Welcome, Tasha. Tasha's on the show. Tasha's on the show.
Wow, my brothers, I feel so fortunate. I feel like I'm surrounded by fortune, honestly. I appreciate this platform. Black Westchester Magazine, you guys have been holding it down, making sure that the voiceless has a voice and standing strong in your conviction and your strength. And I celebrate you. And I'm
Thank you.
so grateful to be a part of this, honestly.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
So a lot of people, they don't know how far back we go.
Right.
But we go back a ways, and I remember being invited onto People Before Politics, and really feeling fortunate to be a part of that, because you guys really bring the truth to the people. You represent the voice of the voiceless for real.
Yeah, we try. God willing. Like we try to make it.
We give you that real talk for the community and the news with the Black point of view. And we say the things that other people say in private, but they scared to say out loud. You already got your first comment. Reef Dallas Vlog says salute 914, new row in the building.
Yes, new row.
Yes.
Yeah. That's great. See, that's what it's all about.
So everybody, this is going to be every Monday, and we are simulcasting like we do everything we do on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on X, and occasionally on Instagram when they want to behave and when they want to act right.
Exactly.
And any other format that they allow us to broadcast on. But that's where we are now. All the Black Westchester pages, Damon's page, my page. I don't know why Tasha didn't set up her Facebook page. It should be up there. But anyway, up until then, you can go. So I want you to subscribe. I want you to click like. I want you to leave your comments to let us know what you think, and we want to hear from you. So, Tasha, the floor is yours. This is your show.
Wow. So, my condolences. We did have an incident, a loss of life in New Rochelle. We will probably be talking about that later as we get more details.
There's a story. There's a story on Mount Vernon with Black Westchester now. 22-year-old Mount Vernon man was shot in the Heritage Homes, the projects of New Rochelle, around 10:40 this morning. Supposedly, some people might have been apprehended on Lincoln Avenue. I haven't confirmed that, but Talk of the Sound said some people was apprehended. The cops said they're still looking. It's open investigation. They're not giving out the person's name until they contact the family. So that's what and then the Black Westchester article, just keep going back to it because I will be updating it as information comes out.
Once again, thank God for you. Thank you for making sure that we get this up to the minute reporting. My condolences to the family and all those involved in New Rochelle. We keep you in our hearts and our minds and our prayers. And that's why I wanted to come on from a different approach. Like AJ, like you said, I do think that there is a need for healing. I think that there's a need for, like you said, for people to call out, to call a thing a thing. We're not crazy. We're not crazy here. We see what's going on. and we say that we don't want it to continue. And in this environment, especially this political environment, I've I've been a part of, just people refusing to listen to some of the things that we're saying, refusing to really hear from the voice of those most impacted. And we need to come together in community. We need to continue our insistence on change, but also, how are we doing physically? How are we doing mentally? How are we doing emotionally? Because we know so many of our martyrs to the movement who either their physical life was taken, or the life was drained out of them
Oh, they got
in
county jobs. I'm sorry.
or
They got county jobs.
that was a good that was a good one. But we're going to talk about it on Elevation Nation, right? Because there's a such thing as financial health.
Right.
There's a such thing as that bottom line.
Yeah, but I never let no county job stop me from speaking truth about.
But you are a rare individual. You talked while you had a job. You talked with your boss, George Latimer, in the audience and said, "Hey, there's my boss right there." And I'm like, "Hey, George, while you're at it," and you spoke to like, you are not the average individual does not have the testicular fortitude that you do because they're worried about their job and they're worried about retaliation and they're worried about all of that. And there is that there's retaliation in Westchester and all the cities, so there is a thing. Everybody's not built like you, Damon.
Well, I mean,
Everybody,
okay, if you say so.
Most people speak when they retire. If you notice, most of the people that speak, even in law enforcement, they were all retired. There was
right?
nothing else you could do to them. They got their pension. There was nothing you
Well,
could do.
uh, well, a lot of times in New York, but cats like Ron Hampton, Roger Abel, Dr. Milton Stroud, like I was around gods, man, that were working. Was actually working. Dr. Milton Stroud when he was alive in the 90s, he was the highest ranking black official in New York State government. He was the chief of parole for Southern New York. And I remember when Sergeant Carden, when we first started the Guardians in the Westchester Correction Guardians Association in Westchester County, it was started in 1992, but about 1993 and 1994, a lot of the white officers was pushing back. And I remember Dr. Stroud came up and he had this dark-skinned brother with him. And, they came up to his house because of the fact that, there was some threats with Sergeant Carter. Now, I didn't know that day, right? Until years later, I ran into the brother that was with Dr. Stroud. And he said, "Brother, I remember you, man. I remember you. How's things going?" He said, "Yo, do you know when we came up there, we had a trunk full of guns. Like we was
Wow.
ready to get busy."
So I'm going to stop you right there, only because this is what you can hear on People Before Politics every Sunday, and I'm going to let Tasha
Well,
talk
I,
about the
I
stuff.
was just saying
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
I was just giving that example
Right.
because when I got the job, those senior officers, those mentors that I had came out of the Black Power movement, came out of the Civil Rights movement. Their attitude was totally different than a lot of these black Negroes that walk around today with badges. The attitude was totally different. Another black fact, and then I'm going to leave it alone. The majority of black officers in the 70s in New York City was FOI. To Elijah Muhammad, early 70s, because Elijah Muhammad died like 72, so I'm maybe in the 60s. He put out a creed that they had to leave the job because of the fact that there was a lot of, hanky-panky going on in the NYPD, and he didn't want FOI to be a part of none of that. And a lot of them stayed. They wasn't leaving that pension. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. So,
So, yeah.
so it's a lot of history in Black Power movement, in Black law enforcement, but a lot of that has been lost because we don't, as usual, we don't listen to our elders.
What was you saying, Tasha?
Yeah, so just going into this whole the background that I have with you guys, like Damon and
Mhm.
I, a lot of times I say, we're two sides of the same coin because a lot of our approach and a lot of our um, how we process things. Sometimes, it's very same, it's very similar, but we're very different. So when he and I get to talking about this last election result, I saw there was so much opportunity for number one. I'm going to start with this because this is Elevation Nation.
Right.
Listen, to listen. So I am of the demographic of Black women. 92% of us voted for Kamala Harris in this last election. And we find ourselves in the minority of Americans. But there's such a high percentage voted for Kamala. How some of us, not a lot of us, a lot of Black women are saying a lot of different things. So we're not monolithic. But some Black women are saying, like, how did the country not see what we saw? And the reason I brought up Damon is because, I had said to him, I said, Black women lost Black men to Trump, which number one is not true because Black men overwhelmingly supported Kamala Harris. But there is a percentage of Black men that that the Democrats lost, I would say, that would not vote for Kamala Harris and did vote for Donald Trump. And when I said this to Damon, he said, well, it wasn't about women. It's about policy. So
Hmm.
I wanted to bring that discussion to Elevation Nation because so many different reasons. But Damon, do you remember saying that?
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. It was all about policy. It was all about, because if you talk to, we've been there before, right? We've been there before making history with Obama. And the sad thing about it is they tried to run the same hope game plan, which it didn't work because anybody that does their homework, anybody that can read will find out that even though it was great having a black president, the wealth gap under his presidency widened.
I
Right.
gotta check
So
that.
that's it's a fact. It's
Okay,
it's
I
a
gotta
it's
check
a
that.
it's an absolute fact. I wrote an article on, y'all could go in the Black Westchester about Bill Clinton and Barack Obama and the damage that they did to the black wealth gap. Right. Bill Clinton, NAFTA, he allowed factories to leave. What
Okay.
created the middle class? What created the middle class in Westchester?
Manufacturing jobs.
And what specific job? What
Well, for
specific
Black
company?
people, this is
No, no,
you.
no.
You go ahead and
What specific company in Westchester created the black middle class?
you say it because it's your stats, not my stats. So you say it.
General Motors.
In Westchester
Fact.
County?
What General Motors in Terrytown created black middle class, and you could read the 1992 African American Advisory Board report to then Andrew O'Rourke. General Motors. Those factory jobs was allowed to go overseas with NAFTA. Now we
So
go
that's
to
Bill
Barack
Clinton.
Obama. Policy. That's
That's
policy.
Bill Clinton, right?
Right? That's Bill Clinton. What other thing happened under Bill Clinton and our homeboy Joe
Mass
Biden?
incarceration.
Mass incarceration. Mass incarceration. The crime bill. Now let's jump to Barack Obama. Now we recognize those two things did damage to black communities. Now we get to Obama. Obama pushed college education instead of vocational jobs. Another miss, because not every black person can go, not every black person is able to go to college. So we missed that again. And then you got the mortgage crisis where a lot of black people lost their homes because they was tricked by the banks. He bailed out the banks, but didn't bail out the people that lost their homes.
But you got to remember, because I lived through that with you. And one of the things that you're failing to bring into this discussion is the Congress. So I remember the Obama years. The first 2 years, Mitch McConnell did not have leadership in the Senate, but the last two, I gotta look. I gotta look again. But I remember how Congress shredded very good policy that was proposed. I remember the party of no. And that's when we really saw this, whatever the Dems do, we're going to do the opposite attitude
That's
come out
true.
of the Republican
No,
Party.
no, that is true. But the Dems controlled the president, the House, even under Obama, and he focused on trying to pass Obamacare instead of focus on the economy when they had control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency. That was a failed.
So
That was a failed move. That was
I,
a failed move.
I
He
don't know
wasted
that
2 years. He wasted. Look, just Google. We got Google. He wasted 2 years when they controlled the House and the Senate. When he first got in, the Democrats controlled the House and the Senate, and then remember Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin was the holdout because he was an independent. Joe Manchin was the holdout, and they messed that whole 2 years up. Then he lost. Then they didn't have control after that 2 years.
so these are I just want to do the show justice. Like when we talk about
Right.
things like this, I have to provide statistics because I can't I don't feel this is not the integrity with how I want to have a discussion. I haven't done my research. But
I have some.
All right.
I have some stats for you though.
thank you.
Right.
Okay, so going back to the conversation before that, 78% of black men voted for Kamala Harris, but black men
Those
made
stats
up.
I have,
Wait.
yes.
But black men made up 14% of the electorate. 92% or whatever of black women voted, but black women made up 17% of the electorate. So it wasn't that black men not voting that hurt her.
Right.
Combined, we only made up 31% of the electorate.
Exactly. And
So I mean, like you have to look at those numbers when we have these conversations.
Absolutely.
and
So
15
the
and
biggest
15
group,
million people didn't vote
right?
at
And
all.
the biggest group of voters is women. So that white women group was the biggest group of people that did not vote for her, and that's what it is, and that's where you have to put that on. That's statistically speaking, black people don't make up enough percentage. Like black men didn't didn't lose this election. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Absolutely.
so our percentage, we have to speak about what our percentage is, and we need to, and I don't know what the number is, but there's a said percentage of what percentage of us are registered as voters and vote. That's another percentage. That's another
Right.
thing we have to increase. But even in the increase, we're still not the highest demographic of voters. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So
Right.
that's I just want to put those stats out there when we have these black men, black women conversations and who voted for yeah, 78% of black men voted, but they make up 14%. 92% of black women voted and they only make up 17%.
17%.
So
Right.
that's like the other side. Everything else, that's everybody else.
Well, it's the same thing, right? It's how are we so out of step with the majority of Americans, whatever that number is, right? So we're 31%, whatever, however millions of votes that is. And then there's the rest of the country that makes up the 69% or the 70%.
Because
And then within that percentage, the majority of them voted for Donald Trump.
Because
The
But
majority of this country don't have our interests, our best interests at
no,
heart.
no,
Ever.
no.
thank you.
Everybody's missing the point. James
Thank you.
Carville said it
Wait a minute.
correctly.
Wait,
It's
hold
the
up. Hold
economy.
up.
It's the economy. It's the
Hold on.
economy.
Excuse me. As a woman, if we don't have reproductive rights, we
You
don't
and,
participate in the
and let
economy.
me and see, and here's the problem with that.
So no,
Yo,
no, no, no. Wait
let
a
me
minute.
just
I need
explain
that.
something
Hold
to you.
it. Excuse me.
Let us talk, Damien.
All
Let us
right.
talk. I'm referee today. Yeah.
I need that to sit with you for a minute.
No, and it
We could
sticks
do.
with
Wait a
me.
No,
minute.
no,
Wait.
let him finish, Damien,
We
and then
could
you
do
go.
deep. We could do deep breaths. We could do whatever we need to do. But I need to. I need to feel heard on that one, because without reproductive rights for women, we are not able to participate in the economy as well, not nearly as equal, and definitely not equitably, because we don't have control over when we start families. So I need to let that sit in on this show, because that, like, even earlier when you were like, it's the policy, reproductive rights is policy,
Stop hating, Bob.
healthcare policy.
Bob's a hater. But let me
This is
explain
funny.
something to you. Let me explain something. Everything was marketed wrong. Everything was marketed wrong. Now we're talking about winning a race. We're talking about winning a race. And when you market like what you said, sir, there's a great group of people that's saying, well, they're promoting promiscuous sex. I'm just being honest. I'm just being straight honest. That whole thing was marketed wrong. Now he's falling in love. See, he loves to hear Tasha speak. How many times did he call you a week? No, but it was, listen, it was marketed wrong. The message was wrong. And nobody wanted to listen. Nobody wanted to listen. Because when people say, hey man, we need to talk about public safety, we need to talk about this, we talking about that. Oh, you don't want women's rights? No, nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. Because guess what? Ain't nobody thinking about having a baby if they can't buy no food. If they don't have a job, who's thinking about who's thinking about having a baby when they can't pay the light bill? So what the Democrats did, they didn't listen to the base.
I
When the
agree.
base, they didn't listen to the base, and they
I definitely
thought,
agree.
and you know what happens when you go on YouTube and you look at the major people that was running Kamala Harris's campaign, all
Kamala.
white.
Mhm.
Well, that's okay. I want to talk about that. Can we cue the clip? Because I want to. I didn't show
Did you
our
send me?
viewers.
You text me the link.
I think I emailed it. I don't know if that's going to work.
I do want to
Okay.
though while you're doing that, Tasha, I do want to bring up a point though.
Yeah,
So one of the things that I noticed, and see, this is the journalistic hat where I just step back and take all feelings out of everything. So I saw what one of the things Damien mentioned about the messaging. The Republicans have constantly, over time, co opted every message that the Democrats or black people tried to ever put out anyway. And we fall for that banana in the tailpipe, and they say it over and over, DI and all these other things, and they make all these things curse words. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they do that. And one of the things that I've seen people say, and I have to ask about. So they were bragging, they were boasting that she raised over what was it? The amount of money they said she raised, like this
One
ridiculous
billion.
$1 billion.
I've heard a few different numbers. Yeah,
Right,
definitely.
right, right. So over 1 billion basically was the general consensus that she allegedly raised. They were spending like I didn't see money being spent. Okay, so I give you an example. When we had the on the local level, we had the Richard Thomas campaign in Mount Vernon. Every time they were saying stuff in Spezio, we were combating it. We were putting out the facts. We were fact checking it on the fly. It became a little monotonous after a certain point, but the Republicans were allowed to just say whatever over and over and over, and the Democrats never did any fact checking or putting out the
No, they did a
narrative,
lot
their
of no, they
narrative.
did a lot of fact checking.
No, no,
They
their
did a lot of
narrative.
fact.
No, no, their narrative with the ads. Like I saw a lot of ads that were not true necessarily, but when you see things over and over and over, hell, APAC had everybody. I did phone banking for Jamal Bowman. APAC had black people in the Bronx that voted for him were diehard saying, "Oh man, he went against my president. Oh, he don't like my president. Or he's against my president. I can't go for that." Like,
But
no,
let's
no,
be
no. But
honest.
those are the reasons. But those are the voters. Those are his voters, and a message was bombarding people over and over, and there was nothing from the other side. Like, and it just went unchecked. And a lot of that same thing on the national level, the message, the Democrat can say, "Oh, that's not right, that's not right." But what were they putting out that was what is right? What is it supposed to be? I didn't hear it from you. From what is it supposed to be? What is it really? And I didn't
Yeah.
hear that. And I don't think they spent enough money there. And that's just from a
Yo,
journalistic lens. This is not feelings or nothing. This is from a journalistic lens. I think they failed in their battle. Of
two
the, out of
things. First of all, the Democrats' message was not consistent. It had it. And then they denied everything that was happening at the border, which was a huge mistake. Which was a huge mistake. And the biggest commercial that Trump won the swing states was that commercial that said the Democrats is for them and Trump is for you. If you just go on YouTube and Google them, and you just go on and the whole transgender thing, men playing in women's sports, that was an issue. That was an issue with people, whether we like it or not, whether we in our feelings or not. Right? It's about a W or a L. That's all it's about at the end of the day. We can have all our feelings that we want to. What did Reggie Lafayette always say?
it's not. There's no friends and no enemies in politics. It's only
It's just permanent
there's
interest.
no permanent friends, no permanent enemies in politics. Just
It's
permanent
just it's
interests.
just permanent interest.
Yeah. Shout
And,
out to
and,
the
and, wi-
rest
and
in
wi-
peace
and
to
without
Lafayette.
and without
Rest,
all the feelings, and if they're not listening to the base when the base is talking about economics, public safety, and all that, and you're not paying attention to it, guess what's going to happen? Guess
but
what's going
okay.
to happen? And then we're looking at a whole gender gap, right? Because when Joy Reid attacked white women, I'm like, yo, white women don't want to work. They don't
So
want
Go
to
ahead,
work.
I
Tasha.
am
Go
gonna
ahead,
go.
Tasha.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, AJ.
No, no, I'm telling you. Go ahead.
So, Damon, you can't go on like that because there's so many points that I want to really
Oh, I'm sorry.
address, but not like that. But it's like it's so packed. What you said, it's like
Oh,
packed
okay.
with
All
a
right.
lot of
So, all
things.
right. I won't
Is
pack
what
it.
I'm saying. So, I
I
think
won't.
the Democrats do need to get better with messaging, but I also don't think the Democrats, at least in my experience, really are in a feedback loop. I don't think they're really interested in what people are saying on the ground as much as it serves whatever interest is able to raise the most money. So, a lot of things that we see going on with the Democratic Party is that and the Republican Party, is there's too much money that has special interests
I agree.
that are really driving
We
what the
need
party
campaign. We
does.
need campaign reform. Absolutely, on all
We
levels.
definitely need campaign reform because these special interests are driving what people feel like they can and cannot fight for.
Can I stop you right there? I wanted just that point. Just that point. While I totally agree, My point in all of this, and I understand we do not have the capital or money as black people, but we need to learn from that because what these special interests are doing, they are putting money up to support people that will vote in their interests. And their interest is the things that they want. You know what I'm saying? We need to have that mind state in supporting candidates that vote in our interest. Now, I understand we can't compete dollar wise with these special interests, but we still need to go in, even in the voting booth, you know what I'm saying, with supporting candidates that are in our best interest, that's going to do what we want. And that's so when you have, and we should have learned that from APAC on that level. APAC, what they did is they spent money for their interests. Anybody who did not support Israel or spoke against Israel, they spent millions of dollars to get rid of them, like Bowman. You know what I'm saying? And they supported all those who did support. That was their interest. And they spent money to back up their interests. We need to learn about that. We need to learn from that and start moving in things that stop voting against our interests, voting for our interests, and voting and supporting candidates that have our interests at heart. Go ahead, Tasha. I just wanted to put that one thing out.
Absolutely. That's why we need platforms like this because let me tell you something. People aren't able to follow through on voting on their best interest because number one, they're distracted. Number two, whoever has the most money is the one that gets the message out there. People are not reading. People are not looking to back up whatever they're hearing on social media. People have to make a living. So they're going to work, coming back home. They might have families. Childcare is through the roof. Childcare is about $2,500 a month, by the way. If we want to talk about policy, because I'll bring in all the policies that are affecting women that people somehow are not thinking about.
I'm so glad my daughter's
Childcare.
35. That's all I have to say.
What?
Me
I'm
too.
so
Me
glad
too.
my daughter's
Me too.
35. That's all I have to say because
I'm glad
I couldn't
too, but
afford
I'm
the
still a
child care
child
now.
care provider.
Yeah,
I'm still a child care provider for
yeah,
my grandchild
yeah,
because child care is so expensive.
Well,
absolutely.
it's not just childcare.
So,
It's going to high school
so
too, because if you live in a neighborhood that your school system is busted, you got to pay $30,000 a year to send your kid to a private school.
and these are not federal policies. These are on the local level
Local,
of
state, and
our,
county. Right.
yeah, local, state,
Absolutely,
and county, local, state, and county. So anyway, I
but black
want
people don't
to,
come out and vote.
Okay. Go ahead,
but
Tasha.
we need to talk about the holistic self. So we can't, I am not going to on this platform say black people don't come out to vote because black people do come out to vote. A lot of us do go out to vote and a lot of us register to vote. To AJ's point about
I love you,
electing.
Tasha, but there's 80,000 people in the city of Mount Vernon, and only 6,000 turn out to vote.
You know, and
I,
here's the
I
other
love
part
you
of
to
that.
death.
Wait,
I love you to death. But if
here's
you
the other
have
part
a
of that.
population of 80,000 people, you have a population of 80,000 people, and only 6,000 people turn out to vote. There's a problem.
Okay,
Let me
but
add one more thing though, Tasha. Let me add one more thing. We do this thing on get out the vote and register vote, and we register people. And people, you put a piece of paper in front of them, they register. We don't follow up and encourage them to vote and educate them. We don't do so. There's a lot of people who've registered. They got a piece of paper and they don't vote. There's no, you know what I'm saying? Like we have to do more than just register them. We have
Right.
to engage them,
And I'm
and
going to
that's
be
a
so
honest.
breakdown. There's a
I'm
so
going
breakdown.
to
one of the takeaways that I want from this conversation is that I really do think people are doing the best that they can. I come
yeah,
from that.
probably so.
I I come from that view of humanity. And I think that people are distracted. I don't think they have clear information. I think the entity with the most money is getting the message that they want out, whether it's true or not. And I think we need to have more platforms like this that talk about the whole person, that talk about that people are on drugs in their food, as well as social
No,
media
absolutely.
are
But
that's
it's
drugs.
part of the
It's
plan.
altering. Well, Yes, it is part of the plan.
It's part
But
of the
even
plan.
though even though we intellectually understand that we're being programmed and manipulated, people are not able to break themselves out of that cycle unless they start addressing some of these other areas that we're probably going to talk about on Elevation Nation. You got to have enough time in your day, which most people don't even have, to even be able to reflect on some of these things. I've worked campaigns since 2017. Like 4 months before an election, we try to shove information down people's throats. Vote this way. This is a good person. They did this, they did that. And people are not able to really properly address who they're electing because they're not if they're not in tune from all of this time while this person is in office, they really don't know. So 3 or 4 months before the election, we knock doors, we make phone calls, we text message, and people are like, I don't know. I got at least 17 calls each election. Who should I vote for?
Right. I get that every election, Black Westchester, who should vote for. But you know what we have to do? What you just said is very important. And this is what I've said at city council meetings, and I've said this at school board meetings. Shout out to Kemi Poe. She said, "Good evening."
Good
Yo,
evening.
we all the things that we do to get the word out about why we should vote for you. That is the same way when you get in office, you need to be communicating with the public.
But they don't do
Just
Absolutely.
no, no,
but
no.
they don't do that.
They don't do. I'm telling you, they don't do that, and that's the problem. And then what you said. Then when it's close to election, you bombarding us. We don't hear from you no other time. One of the things from doing phone banking, people were like, "Yo, what happened to Bowman after he got?" And I heard that about Mondier in his district. They were like, soon as they elected him, no Greenberg and a lot of places said we ain't see him no more. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and I tell my even the school board level, what you do to get the word out for people to vote for you, that's the same thing you need to be doing all year to get the word out about the schools, about what's going on in the city, about the things that you're talking about to educate the people. We need to do that same thing, and we don't do that, and that's a problem. Go ahead,
And I
Tasha.
just want to say from the left, Damon, you got to get in there.
No,
No,
go
no,
ahead.
go ahead. I wait, I wait, I wait.
And I'll just say, like, as a person who got involved with politics from Bernie Sanders and from people on the left, um, a lot of the advancements that we experienced was because people said the status quo was not good enough. Like, I was listening to a commentator today, and they were talking about the stimulus checks. And they were like, people associate Trump with them checks. Because remember, he was like, whatever you do, put my name on the check. Remember that?
Hmm.
He said that.
But the
But
Congress is
those
the one that,
checks,
yeah,
Yeah, but
it was, but it was not only the Congress; it was the progressive wing of the Congress that made sure we got those checks.
yeah, but he
But
hijacked it. It's all it's we getting emotional about things when he's playing a game. And he's playing a game, and we're never going to catch up
well,
because we're emotional. He's playing chess, we're playing checkers. He knew what that was going to do to have his name on that check. He
the point
knew
that I want the
go ahead.
how people was going to respond that Trump gave me the check.
Right, go ahead, Tasha. Go
the
ahead,
point
Tasha.
that
You
I
knew
need
that,
to
sis.
the point that I need to make sure the people that are listening understand is yes, it was hijacked, but we need to make sure we understand who and how we get change. And this was by agitation from people who now, the same party that just lost,
Mhm.
is looking to scapegoat that is the left's fault. When everything that we have gained recently, including pushing for better health care, has been from disruptors, has been from activists, have been from activists and advocates from the left that are saying, we demand better of our government and we're going to insist until we get it. So I need everybody to understand that before we get into whose fault it is once Trump tears everything down.
Right, right. And going to what both y'all said, I'm playing a moderator here. What both of y'all said is correct. but the left did not do a good job
Exactly.
to articulate this is what we did and this is why you have it.
Well, the left
You know what I'm
can't
saying?
do that because the party leans to the center.
Well,
The
So,
party
but it
never
has
went
to.
to the center.
You have to find a
so
way.
The party,
You have
sis,
to,
well,
the party
I
never
don't
went to the
I
center.
don't
go ahead. Go
know.
ahead.
I
Go ahead.
don't know. I don't know if there's going to be a way because I'm not. I think this man said we don't have to worry about elections no more. I believe him when he said it. But anyway,
No,
the what the party usually does. What the party usually does is once they suffer a loss like this, they go back center instead of adopting progressive policy. So we'll see what the party does because the party is a entity also.
right. But
So
the rule of
let
thumb,
me say let me say this, Damon. So even the political pundits that were on, and take what they say for a grain of salt. But one of the things they were saying that everyone was saying, as far as the left was concerned, all those things you said that were happening under Biden, all those things that were done, they were not being articulated. This is what we did. This is what we did. And the whole thing with the Republican, when we learned on the local level, if you say something enough times, people will believe it. And if you just keep saying the same thing over and over and over, you know what I'm saying? I start a rumor right now. Tasha's really bald headed. That's a wig. And I say it over and over. People that know that you got real hair are going to think that you're really bald. Like, for real.
It's
right,
almost as
right,
if they
right,
didn't want to win. It's
right.
almost as if they didn't want to win.
No, well, listen. Here's the
Well,
rule of thumb.
they ruled. They get they gain on the uninformed and misinformed.
Exactly.
And we in our community, especially our community, and especially Mount Vernon, is very uninformed and
Exactly.
misinformed.
Well,
And
well,
even and even the leaders that look like us, because I had this conversation with Ernie Davis, even our elected officials who look like us take advantage of that.
oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not even just white people. Even the ones that look like us take advantage of that. They know that if that's the case, it's not about informing them. It's about taking advantage. So they put out whatever they want. They gain on people being misinformed and uninformed.
Right.
And you
That's
have
why we're here.
and the Republicans understood that, so they continue to misinform and bombard and bombard and bombard.
But AJ, it's not even about misinforming. You have to come to the middle in a presidential election. The goal is to get the independent voters. You will never win a presidential election in the United States if you don't come to the middle.
If you're too far left or too far right.
If you too far left, if you too far
Well
right.
you can't say if you're too far right because
No.
you can be too far right and
No,
win. We
wait a
just
minute.
saw
Wait
it.
a minute. Wait. Trump won the working class. He won the unions.
He won the working class and
And
he
he
won
won
the
the
unions on a
unions.
far right message. On a far right
No,
Wait,
no,
wait,
message.
wait, wait,
no,
wait, wait, wait,
no,
wait,
that's
You
wait.
not
disagree
true.
with
He
that?
won. Wait, he wanted to break up the unions,
Right.
and
And then
On far
he
right.
still told them what he
he won the unions
right.
on bringing back factory jobs.
And a
Whether it's
far
true or
right
not.
message.
Listen, no,
You
no.
don't think the
Whether it's
message was
true,
far right?
no, wait. Whether it's true or not, whether it's true or not, we're not talking truth. We're
No, I'm
talking
asking
about
you.
winning. We're talking about
I
winning
said, do
because
you think
because
the
at the
message?
end of the day, all politicians lie. I
I
think
don't know what
everybody on this
conversation
panel
we're
can
having
agree on that.
anymore.
All politicians lie.
All
We're
I'm not
talking
sure
about
politicians,
where.
winning.
I don't
okay,
know where we're
all
at anymore.
politicians, all politicians at some point do
Lie.
tell
No,
do
no, no.
tell people
Listen, you don't have to
what
say
they
it.
want
I'll
to
say it.
hear to get their vote,
I'll say it.
and
All
they don't always.
politicians at one point in time lie, and it's
But
about the W. And
but
what I'm saying is, I'm just pointing the fact out. You have to come back to the middle, whether
okay,
it's independence, whether it's what. And the main thing, as George Carvel said, one of the best political strategists that the Democrats ever had. You have to go to the economy. You have to go to public safety. And one thing we gotta agree upon, whether or doesn't matter, on all the crazy stuff that Trump said, he was constant in the migration issue and the crimes on the border. He had a consistent message.
Which was far right.
Okay,
No,
go ahead.
no, it
No,
was
no,
public
no.
safety. What do you look?
Deporting
Regardless
mass
of what it is.
deportations is not far right. Are
Do
you
you
kidding
do
me?
Okay, listen. Let me stop. Let me stop. I'm moderating. Let me stop. So,
mass
wait, no,
deportations?
David,
No,
David, let me stop. No,
wait.
no, no. Let me
Public
stop. Let me
safety.
stop.
At the end of the day, let me just finish this. At the end of the day, when you're dealing with when you dealing with the issues of those states that are at the border and dealing with all that stuff, when you're dealing with them underfunding the border, when you're dealing with all that, that's going to take precedence. We cannot sit in our New York bubble and not think that the people in New Mexico and the people in those other things are not having issues with those with those
All right.
priorities.
I got you. I got to stop you right there. I want to bring it home. Tasha, as the editor of Black Westchester, I've heard Black people in Westchester who have said that why are these migrants coming in here and and they're getting all these things that the government has never given us who have served and done all these things and been in this country and been violated in so many ways. They coming in. Oh, so there were Black people here in Westchester who have problems with the migration and the immigrants coming in and getting money on a card and all these things
Oh,
that
forget.
Black people aren't
Do
getting.
you
And
see what's going
these
on
were
in
Black voters.
Chicago?
This is wait. These are Westchester Black voters. Some of these people live in Mount Vernon, and that's what I was hearing. So there was a problem when you kept the conversation on immigration on every level. Some people felt something about immigration, and there was a problem, and they kept that on that. Moving to the next topic, Tasha, because we're not going to stay too long on
Right.
this. Go ahead, Tasha.
Well, I wanted to hear from, I wanted to share with you guys some commentary from other Black men on the
Right.
street. Are we able to do that?
Oh, did you email it to me?
I think
I didn't. I
so.
don't see it.
That's
Okay,
what you're supposed to
okay,
be looking for while we was talking on this side.
No,
You're
I
supposed to
didn't
look
see
at
it, and I meant to say it, but I got caught up in the conversation.
okay, hold on.
Just email it to me, Tasha, and we'll play it.
Okay. So, I think that I think we're picking up on some sentiment that, other people are definitely having, and it's just a disconnect. It's a
Yes,
disconnect. Like I
absolutely.
I definitely have heard a lot of, bad commentary about the migrant crisis, and it is a crisis. I'm very disappointed at the states at the southern border that bust and flew people, that overwhelmed our systems here in New York, and have us, like, scapegoating other people that are, really at a disadvantaged position, and putting them against working people that are at also a disadvantaged position. It's just typical divide and conquer tactics. I don't like the way they were bussed and shipped here. Those governors seem to be, not at fault at all, when they were the ones that dumped
No,
up.
stop. Eric opened up his mouth.
what
Eric opened up his mouth.
when
If Eric
when
would have kept his mouth shut,
the
Eric
sanctuary
went
city
on
thing.
national television talking all that stuff about the Florida governor. I'm telling you what happened. This is facts. He went on national television talking about the Florida governor and the Texas governor and having his chest out about New York City is a sanctuary city.
I
Eric
just
brought
think
that
it's
on himself.
unfortunate. I just
But
think it's
but
unfortunate that
moving
He
forward.
brought that on himself.
Wait, but not just him. When we had coming to Westchester, the other counties above us were putting some kind of ban that they wasn't taking all those people. George Latimer said, "Nope, I'm not going to do that. We're going to welcome all those people, and we're going to find a space for them." George Latimer said that. So and we still voted for him. So you know what I'm saying? So it's just like
Listen, I live in Orange County. Eric tried to send him up here. They said absolutely not.
They put a thing on it. They
Okay,
made
They
it.
so we're doing this
Go ahead.
thing that I
they
want
went
to
to
point
court and
out.
blocked it.
I
But
want to
Eric,
point
Go
out
ahead.
we
Let
okay.
Tasha.
that we're doing something that I want to point out. It's called lateral aggression. And lateral aggression is when we take the accountability off of where it belongs, which is a failed way to deal with Southern governors offloading what is a
No, I have
problem
to
with
disagree.
their
Let
state
her
and
talk, Damon.
their
You gotta let
border,
her talk. Go
which
ahead.
is a problem with their state and their border, and then in essence punishing a Mayor Adams who said that, bring them here. That is a federal level issue. Border is a federal level issue. No one state is going to be able to absorb border crisis, moving people from one state to another state. It was terribly handled.
No,
Can
it was
wait,
terribly
David,
handled.
David. So I'm gonna give you the opposite of that, Tasha. The other perspective. You just said no one state can handle that. So the border states that had this major problem were like, yo, we can't handle all of this. And all these places like New York that want to call themselves a sanctuary city, we're going to send them there. They felt like it should be distributed the same way, even though what Eric Adams said, he got on the governor saying that New York City shouldn't be the only place that absorbed it. It should be absorbed throughout the whole state. So that also was said too. But
Right.
so those just to put perspective on both of those comments. You know what I'm saying? And I also wanted to make a point, Tasha. Um, a sister, Cookie Alexander Campbell, actually agreed with David when he was talking. So you do got a black woman that agreed with David when he was making his point. I just want to point that out.
but,
But no. But Tasha, go ahead because this is your show. You go.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I just think that sometimes we have a short memory on how this stuff actually happened and who decided. I really think the Biden administration should have done more when
Well,
those southern.
that's the problem. They never gave New York City any money.
Well,
They
stop.
never. They
Well, I
Eric.
just said that
Go
several
ahead.
times. This was
Go
a
ahead.
Right.
federal issue. This was a federal
Right.
issue
Go
It
ahead,
was
Tasha.
a
that was
federal
put
issue.
No, stop.
on
Go ahead,
New York State, New York City. No matter what Eric said, what the mayor said, that was not something a city should have been expected to handle on its own
But
And,
Tasha,
and without federal,
sometimes
and there was
without
no
you need
federal.
to
federal
keep.
intervention.
But sometimes you need to keep your mouth shut.
Okay, I understand what
Oh,
you're
hold on,
Okay.
saying.
but
And
there's two
what
things,
I'm
Damon.
saying is
He
Huh?
we
also said
expect more of our
New York
government.
State had to absorb
Right.
it. He
We
said the
expect
city
more
couldn't
of
take
our
it all by themselves,
That's right.
and he fought with the governor and was trying to get it up her way, and she was not having that.
No,
And
and
she
she
was like,
wasn't
It was
exactly.
messed up. It was a fumble on every level. This is a Democrat to Democrat to Democrat situation.
and that's why the
We needed
Republican message resonated. When
Right.
in places that
Exactly.
you
right.
can't understand how it can, that's how
Exactly.
it resonated because even black people in Mount Vernon had a problem with the migrants getting certain things that black people themselves can't get, and felt that we can't get reparations, we can't get nothing. All these things happen to us, and
Right.
these people get over here and they're not even citizens, and they're getting this stuff.
It-
So, but
well,
for
it's
black
not only
issues,
that.
wait. But for black issues, we're told, oh, there's no money for that. Oh, there's
Right.
no money for that,
And that's
and they
the
found all
problem.
this money for that.
And that's the problem in Chicago right now.
Right.
That if you just go on YouTube and Google Chicago City Hall meetings and see what those black folks are saying about what the migrants are getting, and the migrants are being put in new housing while black people are still living in old, crepidated projects. So we have to have that. I mean, it's sad, but a lot of times people are in an uproar because of this situation.
Yeah,
I
but the people that we elect, okay, so the way
I get that.
from a policy standpoint, the way I see that it went wrong was the federal government did not, and I don't know if they reached out to these states, Texas, Arizona, Florida, and they refuse to work with the Biden administration, because that could be a thing, because we're in really a stage of
Okay.
political theater. We're in a stage of political theater. So to say, Eric said something, so he deserves it, that's political
No, no,
theater.
I
I'm
never, I
talking
never
about,
said,
I'm,
I never said Eric deserved it. I said Eric brought it on himself because
No,
he
no,
was
but I want to
playing
stop. Keep going.
national
I want to let her.
politics.
I want to let her go.
That's all I said. He
I
was
want to let her.
playing national politics
I want. I
when
want.
when I was watching the whole thing. He was playing national politics,
I'm
and if
just
we
talking
know
about.
Eric, if we know Eric as we know Eric, he was playing national politics,
Right.
and
Okay. So
he got caught in something that
I'm
he
going to
should never
interrupt.
got
I'm going to
caught in.
interrupt you and go ahead, Tasha.
Yeah, I'm just saying that the
It
president's
was a failure all the
administration,
way down.
it was
We
a
It was a
failure
failure.
all the way, and it was all Democrats in charge, is what I'm also trying to say.
and that's
So we
why.
have a Democratic governor, a Democratic mayor, Democratic county executive, Democratic president. It should have never gotten as bad as it got.
And that's why the Republicans, when they were making their talking points, blamed the Democrats for the situation, saying, "See, that's why you don't need. We need a Republican. We need. That's why people were voting Republican because they were making the case. We're going to tame this situation. Now, people have short memories because Trump was supposed to build the wall and make Mexico pay for it, never did it, and didn't tame the situation when he was president before. So he ain't gonna be able to do it now. But the point is the message. What Damon's talking about, wins and losses, and the Republicans were saying these things, and they were saying it over and over and over. And then the eye test, you see all this stuff going on in your city, and then you see the things that migrants were getting that we were being told as black people, oh, we don't have money for those things, for those programs and stuff that y'all want.
So,
But they
so
found money. But they found money for this. But go ahead, Tasha, because I want
no,
Tasha
I
got to.
just want to do a fact check. Fact
But
check.
stop. But I mean, you have to be brief, Damon, because
Fact
you
check.
extra
Real quick.
wordy.
No. Real quick fact check. Obama deported more than any other president. He was the
We didn't
top.
say he didn't, and that's
No,
true.
He
no,
But
didn't
no.
say he didn't.
nobody said he
I'm not.
didn't.
I'm putting everything into context.
Right. But
In
nobody said he
context,
didn't.
he
That's
didn't
another
say he
conversation.
didn't.
No,
Nobody said he
y'all
didn't.
didn't let me finish to say what I was going to say.
It has to be brief, Damon, because you
Yeah,
go
real
on.
quick. Trump was the least. That you just let me finish what I was going to say. He was the president that deported the least.
And
I
promised the
think
most. But I'm saying
Right.
we
right.
weren't
Exactly.
paying
Well, that was
attention.
my point. That was my
Yeah,
point.
but yeah, Obama. Go ahead, Tasha.
No, I think that what I'm learning from, talking to people after this election is Democrats are not doing well, because people don't believe that they have the answers to these big problems.
Correct.
And that is something that really needs to take some work. It's going to take some outreach. I was also told that the Republicans have Hispanic or Spanish speaking outreach centers that they invested in into the Spanish speaking community. I also think that when Democrats do have diversity, the diversity is not listened to, because somehow or another, like to your point, AJ, with all these white women that voted for Trump, I would say against their own best interest, but to them, it's within their interest. So if you have a party that has a lot of white women, a lot of white men in it, and you have all these other people under the big tent that are people of color, but those people are not being listened to, or those people are not being supported in their leadership, you're not going to get the best results because you're not really hearing where the pain points are. So that's where I'm going to leave the conversation, because I think people need to start talking to other people, listening to other people. Black women, we voted in a block. We voted to keep moving forward, to keep being uncomfortable with a lot of things so we can have more freedoms and more rights for people across the board. And what it seems like the message is that people don't want the uncertainty of what happens if we continue to build this tent, if we continue to be diverse, if we continue to be inclusive. People want to go back to some place where we were before. And I think that's just where we are.
Two things real quick. One, my whole theme, and I have been saying this over and over, in these circles, the problem is that everyone wants to be heard, but no
Hmm.
one, but most people don't come to the conversation willing wanting to hear, listen, what willing to hear. Secondly, um, I don't know if you had other topics you wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
But if so, I would like to move on to something else because we'll be here till midnight talking about.
Talking about
Yeah.
Yeah,
goddamn Trump.
yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't go exactly as I thought, but I think it was a great discussion. I think we definitely have honed in on the fact that there are different perspectives around why, Black men voted a certain way, why the rest of the country voted a certain way. And I think it is helpful for Black women to, number one, rest because somebody else got to do the heavy lifting. Because one thing I know about the civil rights movement, one thing I know about all the movements that Black people champion and forward and win is everybody benefits. I don't care what they want to say. After the civil rights movement, we got more freedoms for women. We got more inclusion for people that are immigrants. We got more inclusion for farm workers, unions, everything. Everybody benefits when we are in the front taking all the licks. And now here we are. And most of us were like, do not vote for this man. It's not in your best interest. And the majority of America was like, we don't care what you say. We're going to go with him. And now we just got to find out. We got to see what the end will be. Isn't that a song in church? I got to go on and see what the end will be.
Well, let me just tell you one thing. So, what you mentioned about Obama was very important when he had the Democrat, he had the Senate and the House and everything. The point of this right now, the person who has the presidency, the Senate, and the House,
And the
they're
Supreme
going to
Court.
they're going to have to do what they say because they can no longer not get what they want to get done and blame it on Democrats not cooperating and everything because they have the
True.
power. So what
True.
usually happens is when someone gets, and this is historic, and we go back to history. That's why we switch from Democrat to Republican all the time throughout the presidency. When one side gets all the power, they never end up producing all that they said, and then there's pushback, and then switches of power takeover. So
Right.
once you have the power, you have to produce now.
Yeah.
That's what the Democrat, like the New York State, the New York State's in danger right now too. They got a Democratic mayor, a governor. They got Democratic. They got the assembly in the state. People in New York State are not happy, and let's not forget we've had Republican governors, and in New York in the last 10 years, 8 years, we've had Republican county execs. So we can do that again. Like it can happen. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? So,
yeah.
but so we have to, but I don't know how long we're supposed to be for the show. What we gonna do? An hour, hour and a half? What are we doing?
I could stay on a little bit longer.
Well,
All right.
if you have any other topics, let's go to the other topics, and then
Yeah. I
unless
want to address
unfortunately they're
Alex.
gonna have to be briefer than they would have been, but
Oh, okay. I,
yeah,
I want to just address Alex and just say I hear you, Alex. I hope you come on again. We would love to, talk more to you. So another thing that has been heavily on my mind is Robert Brooks. And I want to talk about this and I want to talk about what you guys have to say. What do you I am feeling very much like we need a systems overhaul, if not a closing of both the Marcy facility. And as I'm finding out more details about Mr. Brooks, there's another one called Mohawk.
you have to explain to people what those are for people that don't know.
So there. There was a man named Robert Brooks who was incarcerated at the Marcy, actually at the Mohawk Correctional Facility in upstate New York, and was transferred to an infirmary at the Mohawk facility and was beaten to death by up to 14 personnel. One was a nurse, and the other 13 were corrections officers. And I've been getting details here and there. There's a elected official who's the first formerly incarcerated elected official in the state of New York. He's an assemblyman. His name is escaping me right now, but they are on the case doing, interviews and really finding out more and more details about what happened with Mr. Brooks. And one of the things that I want to talk about is this culture of looking the other way. And what does that look like inside of facilities? I got to look at you, Damon, because you are a professional. You're a law enforcement professional,
Retired.
retired, but they're talking
And
about happily retired. That,
yeah, exactly.
but they're talking about. I think it's an upstate downstate thing. Number one, because from what I've been understanding, even Black corrections officers up there feel oppressed,
Absolutely.
feel endangered.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk about that a little bit, because we know there's an upstate downstate dynamic in corrections. Most of the people that are in prison in New York are from downstate, and then are incarcerated hours away from family. It's a way of life for upstate, even though the people that are incarcerated are not from upstate. Like, this is a big problem in our state.
Yeah. I'm dealing with an issue now with friend of mine, Carolyn Home, who is a friend of the show, is trying to find her son, and she doesn't know where her son is at, and they're not telling her where her son is at. So these issues in state correctional facilities in New York has been going on for a long time. It's a it's a it's a the New York State correctional institution is huge, and let's also understand that the further north these facilities are, the less you'll see Black officers. My uncle was one of the first group of Black captains that was made after the Attica riot, was made captains, and he faced a lot of racism and white officers saying they wouldn't have to take his orders, or they wasn't
Right.
respecting his bars and the issues that he had to deal with. And the stories of white officers with little Black babies with nooses around their necks, tattoos on their arm. All that's real,
Mm-hmm.
right? But with this incident, we know racism exists. We know that some of these facilities, towns are based on the livelihood of the facility, and most of the people that live in those towns work in the facilities.
Right. That's
We
what they
we
say.
we understand that. But we also got to understand nobody wants to fix the problem.
This is what I want to talk about.
Nobody, nobody. Just like policing, nobody wants to fix the problem. Even if you have Black people have elected officials, you still have police brutality in the police departments that they're elected officials over. Nobody wants to fix the problem. So this incident of this young man, from the information that I was told, they did not know that camera was working.
None of the cameras were activated. They
No,
they they
camera. No,
filmed
no, the
they filmed
camera.
by default.
No, the cameras never turned off. They don't turn off. They
Right.
always record.
Filmed by
But
default.
they didn't know that the camera was working.
Right.
They didn't know that it always recorded.
hmm
So and that's the only reason they caught him. Because they gave the report that he died of an overdose, and the coroner was like, "This could," and I got this because state troopers did the investigation, and this is the information I got from a retired state trooper. He gave me the information so I could talk about it. So they said that this young man died of an overdose. The coroner said it can't be. He has bruises on his neck. His testicles are busted. There's no way.
We just want to give everybody a little warning.
Well, we're just going to tell what happened.
As you're talking about it, if you want to like log off, feel free, because we are going to go into details of what happened.
Absolutely. His testicle was busted. So he did what he did the right thing. And the investigation ensued. When they asked for was anybody that had any of the body cams, and I didn't even know state officers were some of them were required to wear body cams. So they said that the body cams were never recorded. So I forgot the name of the company. So the investigators called the company, and the company said that our cameras never turn off. They're always on record. So they got the film. But they never told the officers they had the film. They told them to write their reports.
They let them lie knowing what the truth was.
Exactly. Which was a great move on I commend the state troopers that did the investigation on how
That's
they
the
did
only
that.
reason why we know what happened.
That's the only reason we have the tape.
Right.
So I wanted to bring it up, Damon, because I have a great deal of love and care for Black men, for our community, for our humanity. And in this current environment where everybody's so desensitized, I just wanted to bring up that should have never happened. That man was tortured to death. And then the cover up, and it is a culture. And I do hope that there is some movement to infiltrate this culture,
Well,
because it's not
that's
just
up to
there.
the governor. That's going to be up to the governor to hold the management of this facility accountable. That's what's going to happen. So if we're not going to, if
That's big.
yeah, that's huge, bro.
Yeah, I didn't know how big it was going to be.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll read it because he's talking about
if
some
if if
Biden
if,
work.
if we're not going to hold our elected officials accountable for those people that they appoint in these positions, so Hochul needs to be held accountable, and she needs to give the state of New York a plan, and not only Hochul, but Tish James needs to give the state of New York a plan. And I'm just being honest. Tish James has failed when it comes to police accountability on giving a plan on how do we move forward for police transparency and accountability. And she has to do the same. Her office has to do the same when it comes to New York State Department of Corrections. So, I mean, these are the people that we vote for. These are the people that we put in office. And then we continue to let them skate when we see these type of violations, these blatant racist violations of policy, procedure, and training. You know, as I saw the video, and I was look, when the cuffs go on, everything stops. That has been
So
that has been the motto since I got the job. Even before we had all these changes in policy, changes in training, when jail was jail in 1990s, throughout the drug war and all that. But when the cuffs go on, everything stops.
I'm gonna stop you there and let
yeah,
Tasha
I
go.
gotta. Yeah, I just have to say some stats for Tish James because we will not be talking bad about her on this show if I can help it. So, investigating police misconduct. As the New York Attorney General, Tish James has prioritized investigations into police misconduct, especially regarding incidents of violence and misuse of power. In 2020, she launched an investigation into NYPD's handling of George Floyd, citing allegations of excessive force, improper arrests, and racial disparities in treatment. The office
George.
issued a scathing report in 2021 highlighting systemic failures within the NYPD, including a lack of accountability mechanisms and excessive use of force. I know she does this because as public advocate, she was always going up against them. And then, as Attorney General, she serves as special prosecutor in cases where civilians are killed by law enforcement. Key cases: Daniel Prude, Rochester 2020. James led the investigation into Prude's death, which involved Rochester police officers. Although the grand jury declined to indict the officers, James emphasized the need for reforms to prevent such deaths. Andrew Brown Jr. 2021. Her office has called for greater accountability in cases involving police shootings. Advocacy for body cameras and police data transparency. James has consistently supported policies mandating the use of body worn cameras, which we would not even have this footage without that advocacy by police officers and the public release of footage and incidents involving police violence. She's also pushed for the release of police disciplinary records. Reforming police oversight mechanisms. In 2020, recommended the establishment of a permanent independent oversight body to investigate and prosecute police misconduct statewide. Policy recommendations in 2021, her report on the George Floyd, NYPD's response to George Floyd protests. James proposed over a dozen reforms, including limiting the use of crowd control tactics such as kettling, increased civilian oversight of police actions, enhanced training for de escalation. Then there's legislation, community engagement, and grand jury decisions and systemic barriers.
Can I say something?
I have
I'm
to
going to
be.
speak from a journalistic perspective. So statistics are always good, and I can find if I am your PR person, I can find a lot of positive things to say. On as the editor of Black Westchester, going to what Damon was saying, um, she failed in any incident that had to do with a police shooting of a black person in Westchester County. Even in the last case, we in the Rochelle Police Department had two killings since George Floyd. It was supposed to be the barometer. Everything's supposed to have changed after that. The last one,
Things got worse.
things got worse, and the guy is on tape. While the public hasn't seen the whole footage, the AG has, and we talked to the father who the AG's office allowed them to see. The officer shot Jarrell Garris and then tried to tell the other officer, "Oh, he got your gun," and she says on camera, "Oh no, no, my gun's right here." He shot and lied and committed what was cold-blooded murder, and she didn't prosecute. So she has failed in cases dealing with the killing of black and brown people in Westchester County.
Okay.
So being a public advocate and fighting against the NYPD, I feel you on that. That's what Jamani does right now. But when you're the AG of New York State.
Hmm.
And Westchester County is in New York State, and she
Right.
has constantly failed on government. And here's another personal thing that Damon may bring up. So Damon moderated the AG, the Democratic AG candidate forum.
I was there. I set it up.
Right. So Tish James, with Christopher Johnson's wife by her side, was coming to us, and Damon. I don't know if Damon initiated the conversation, but the conversation went like this: "You'll have our support for two things. One, you gotta put Richard Thomas in jail." She said, "Done." The second one, we asked her to bring a certain person with her, and that's her friend, and she said, "Oh hell, that's never gonna happen." But
I was
but
there.
she dropped the ball on the Richard Thomas investigation, and that's something that the former AG had set up the whole thing. He had it, he teed it
It
up,
was set up to
and he
go.
brought it. It was like at the 5 yard line. And as far as I'm concerned, from a journalistic perspective of covering the case, she fumbled the ball at the 5 yard line, and it got ran to the other end zone, and the other team won. And so she has failed in government corruption and police um, misconduct cases in Westchester County. That's the county
Okay.
that's the county we live
So,
in.
so
So,
I just want
Okay.
to say,
All right.
but
I just want to
whatever
say,
you're gonna say, make it quick too. So
Tasha,
Tasha,
I love your heart. I love where your heart is at. But Tish James, the families of victims of police violence wrote Tish James a letter, and when she first got in and wanted to sit down with her, Kenny Chamberlain's signature was on there. She never met with them. She never responded to the letter. She never did a damn thing. The second is I got a phone call from the Jarrell Garris from an investigator in there, and he was ready to quit because she listened to her lawyers to the fact that it wasn't winnable. They thought to go to trial with the Jarrell Garris wasn't winnable. A black man with mentally ill shot in the back of the head. They felt it wasn't winnable. See, we can't keep playing games. We cannot do this. And you wonder why my passion and my attitude and because I hear these things. I hear these things. The young man, the investigator, the black investigator was on the phone crying because he sat here and he listened to this sister listening to white lawyers say this case is not winnable. Let's not take a chance with that because we don't think we got a chance on winning.
so we're gonna move on to the next thing.
We have to, we really have to hold our people accountable.
Absolutely. We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to the next thing. And I just want to say, Latanya Baptiste said it ain't just Westchester; it Rockland County failures too. But so I want to close that section by saying, one thing we can have passion for people, and the things that I was talking about has to do with less passion and how I feel about the person and what I have seen her do in my county as far as like, so I have no confidence in anything because of what she did where I live. I can't talk about everything else, and the only thing that I saw, every press conference I saw, was about Trump. So with that, we're going to move forward to the next topic. But it's not about beating her up. It's just about being real and calling what it is. And that's so it's nobody beating up on the sister or anything
No,
like that.
it's all out of love.
That's why I read. That's why I read Latanya Baptiste. That's a sister, a black sister.
Yeah, it's all out of love.
But we're gonna end right there. Tasha, go ahead.
I think that I don't know all of the ins and outs. I do know that Westchester County, there's a lot of work to be done from the AG's office. I also just think that whenever it comes up, there are some things that she is extremely successful in, leading the way in, and I wanted to bring those up. As well as big critic of the Democratic Party. I stay there. I'm a member of the party. But I do want to say about some things that I think did work that were not publicized, that the Biden Harris um, administration did do right. I think they totally fumbled the migrant issue completely and utterly. I think for allocating funding into disadvantaged communities through the J40, which is the environmental funding that was secured under the Democrats, I think they did that well. I don't think we had enough participation within our communities in Westchester for those funds. Those funds are still available. I'm hoping we can come together as a coalition of Black owned or BIPOC led organizations that can benefit from that funding. I think that part of our financial health is becoming entrepreneurs, especially under a Trump presidency. I
Absolutely.
think, 74% of the wealthy people in this country are entrepreneurs. And when Trump talked about Black jobs, we need to really pay attention because now that he's in office, he's going to do what he said he's going to do. And you think that he's for you and wants to fix the economy. But that is not what we've seen. The last time he was in office, there were tremendous tax cuts for his friends, very wealthy people. So those who are going to work every day, especially in jobs that are going to be replaced by AI, you need to really think about how to survive under this current leadership. Social programs are what Republicans go after. If you like your health care, you should not have voted for a Republican because the way they are supporting policies, it supports people who are at a certain net worth. And if you are not at that net worth and you depend on things like Medicaid and you live in New York, we're fortunate because we live here, but if the federal government does not support New York's economy, we're going to be seriously hurt by Republican led Congress that wants to cut health care,
So,
which is what we have right now.
so I want to give you. We're coming at 9:30. We're coming at the 90-minute record. We won't go on and on and on, so people come back next week. So I wanted to give you like your closing summation of the show, what you wanted, how maybe how you felt the show went, what people can expect to hear more of next week and the week after, and whatever closing words you want.
Yeah, this show, the goal is not just to rant about everything that's wrong. This is really a show about elevation and healing. And I want to probably have like a check in and a check out. And if I were to check out, I came in very grateful. I came in feeling very fortunate. I'm leaving feeling very grateful and very fortunate. I do feel like it was hard to hear some of the things that you guys said, but it's very important to listen to one another. And, this is my proving ground, right? I also want to say that in order for Black people to participate in government or any people that are struggling with daily um, financial issues, like a lot of us are, it's not always easy to get involved in civics. It's not always easy to show up at the rally or to be an activist or to be an advocate. We find ourselves there. But to your point, if we want anything to change, we're going to have to show up. We're going to have to go to school board meetings. We're going to have to maybe run for office. We're going to have to learn how to run a campaign. So I hope in future episodes, we can talk about all these different areas that really,
Absolutely.
help us be more healthy. I think civics and political engagement is under social health. I think we should do this. I think we need to do this. I think even when we disagree, it's still important to challenge yourself, to be uncomfortable, to learn a little bit. We talk about intellectual health. How many books have you read in the last, I don't know, 6 months? So I want to talk about. There's a book I'm reading because AJ, when you talked about white women and their vote, I'm reading a book called "They Were Her Property." And the reason this book is so interesting to me is because it explains the white woman's relationship to being slave masters. And as a black woman, I really need to understand, what are we missing? What are we missing? We all see ourselves as, we're all women, right? We all are pro women, but some women are not pro women. And why is that? There's something in the economy.
But what do you mean by pro women?
Well,
So
let me finish. Go
about
ahead.
that next week. We'll
No,
talk about. Stay tuned. Stay
yeah, you
tuned
got to
for
stay
next
tuned
week.
because I want to
Yeah.
know what is the definition
So we're gonna
of
do that.
pro
We're gonna do
women.
that next week. We're gonna, when she does it, we're gonna have that
You know,
conversation.
she throws this
So,
stuff out here,
yeah.
man. And
So
I'm asking
I have
questions,
and that's why I have the
and she's smiling about it. I got
I
you, I
have
got
the,
you,
I have the.
guys.
Come
Well,
back.
you want to give somebody something to come back to, and
Yes, absolutely.
I have the thrill of being moderator, so that both sides, because I want, and it's good because I want her to hear what we have to say, but I also want Damon to somewhat hear some of what she said.
Absolutely.
Regardless if we agree, it's not the agreeing part; it's the conversation, and then the
Absolutely.
public gets to hear both sides, and they get to hear a side that they don't hear normally on people before politics.
From black people.
Well, not only that, but still, they're hearing
Yeah, from
from
black
her.
people.
From her, they're hearing a side of things that they don't always hear represented in people for politics when it's me and you. So you
Oh
know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's
absolutely
a
not.
different perspective.
Absolutely not.
It's a different
Absolutely
perspective,
not.
and this is our goal, to bringing new
But I just
content.
want to say,
Bring
I
new.
just want to say to black people, I really just
Okay,
want to say to black people,
hold that till next week.
if you're not working for a black company or a black business, you have a black job.
Okay,
Right.
stop. You're right, stop.
Let's
So
make
we're
that
gonna
clear. Let's
right.
have with your
No, no,
doctor's degree, your
you're right,
master's degree, you
right.
have a black job.
Right, we're going to stop right there with that, and you are absolutely 100% right. Everybody's
I just
agreeing on
want
it
to make
across the
sure
level.
because people talking about I ain't got no black job.
No,
You
across
got
the
a
level,
black job.
across the level. But so the goal of this is to bring you new content, and more diverse voices, and not just hear me and Damon perspective on everything, but to hear other sides of things. And I think this is a good first show. I think I got to do a little bit better with the moderating so we can get more to the more points and we can get off these conversations that take up 90% of the show when there's more conversation. So next time, Tasha, I need to see your list of what you want to speak about so
Okay.
I can moderate and get the
I
other
had
things in
no
there.
clue what you was gonna speak
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
I
no,
tell
but
you.
I can help you with the moderation on, like, okay, I know how much time we got left. Let me get these other things in so I can work with you on that. But I'm glad y'all the two of y'all came up with this idea, and I'm looking forward to where it goes. And we want to hear from the. Do you have social media for this show yet? What is the social media for the show? Just for the show?
She ain't got it yet.
Okay, so by next week, I need you to set up an Instagram account, a Facebook page for the show. If you need some help, you let me know so people can follow and they want to hit you about the show. They can hit you on those pages and bombard your
Right. They
regular.
can hit you instead of hitting us.
No, but not only that though.
We got a lot of work to do.
But I'm saying from a different perspective, from someone who does a lot of different things. You do not want everybody hitting you about the things about your show on your personal page because you will never have nothing on your personal like. So we have a show page, we have a newspaper page, we have different pages. You want to set up a page for the show so topics and stuff and everything can be discussed there. But
I
look
love
out.
you guys.
And everybody follow. Make sure you like, subscribe,
Love you too, sis.
follow.
And support our books. We got some commercials coming up. Support
Yes,
our
yes.
books.
Support our books.
Support everything that's happening. We got some discounts. We got some vitamins and supplement discounts from Black Westchester. We also got melanated essence, which I didn't have enough space to
What's
put that
that?
video up. Huh?
What is that?
Melanated Essence is a skincare line
Ooh.
for
And you'll
black
see the
folks.
commercial. And you'll see the commercial next week.
Yeah, next week
Right.
because we ain't gonna. But we're out of here.
I want
And
last words, like PBS said. The
Yep.
program was brought to by people like you. And keep supporting. Your donations and contributions are appreciated. Peace.
Don't miss Damon K. Jones's revolutionary approach to total wellness. His complete wellness collection, 4 transformative books that have changed thousands of lives. Drawing from years of expertise, Damon guides you through emotional eating, clean living, and the proven 6 pillars of lasting health. Experience his 28-day challenge, which helps people nationwide discover their best selves. Or his groundbreaking book, The Empowering Benefits of Detoxing, Cleansing, and Eating Clean, will help you re-energize and refocus on your health, wellness, and mental clarity. Join the wellness revolution. Get this life-changing collection for only $65. Go to DamonKJones.com for this special offer, and let's make health and wellness the new black. From the streets of the 914 to the pinnacle of journalism, A.J. Woodson's journey is legendary. As a founding member of hip-hop legendary group JVC Force, he lived hip-hop. Now, as editor-in-chief of Black Westchester magazine, experience his groundbreaking trilogy, We Got Our Own Thing, the untold story of hip-hop from Westchester County. Black Westchester celebrates black women. Black Westchester, the origin story, the raw, unfiltered memoir of how faith and determination created a voice for the voiceless. 3 books, 1 incredible journey. From hip-hop pioneer to community voice, A.J. Woodson's stories need to be on your shelf. All books available on Amazon, or contact Black Westchester magazine for your copy.
The best you will find. Living in CI, who the hell am I? AJ Rock the juice, I get fly. Cool with the riffing guy, keep a handle. Cause if you don't, I wax you down like a candle.
This new year, Black Westchester and Vita Health Nutrition are joining forces to revolutionize your wellness journey. 2025 isn't just another year, it's your year to thrive. We're making health and wellness the new black, and everyone's invited to join the movement. Vita Health Nutrition's premium collection features powerful immune support supplements, natural energy boosters, advanced nutritional formulas, wellness essentials for the whole family. New Year special offer, get an exclusive 30% off all Vita Health products. Use code BW30, join the movement. Visit blackwestchester.com for community updates. Shop vitahealthnutrition.us. Follow both brands on social media for daily inspiration. Let's make 2025 our healthiest year yet. Black Westchester and Vita Health Nutrition, empowering our community, one healthy choice at a time. Remember, your health is your wealth. Start 2025 strong with Vita Health Nutrition and Black Westchester.
Are you ready to transform your life from the inside out? Join Tasha Young on Elevation Nation, your guide to total wellness and personal evolution. You are about to discover powerful strategies for healing across 7 essential dimensions: physical vitality, emotional balance, mental clarity, financial freedom, social connection, sexual wellness, and intellectual growth. This is more than self-help, it's self-elevation. Watch Elevation Nation with Tasha Young, exclusively on Black Westchester magazine, the news from the black point of view. Your journey to